Have you ever sat down to a meal, looked at your plate, and felt a sense of comfort, simply because you were eating vegetables? We've all been told, since we were children, that vegetables are always good for us. They're the heroes of nutrition, the foods that keep us slim, energized, and healthy. But what if I told you that some of those so-called healthy vegetables could actually be quietly working against you, especially once you've crossed the age of 50? Yes, certain vegetables, the ones you might buy every week, the ones you've eaten your whole life without a second thought, could be placing unnecessary stress on your heart, your kidneys, even your bones. And the scariest part is, most people over 50 have no idea this is happening. Now, I want to make something clear. This isn't about creating fear or telling you to give up eating greens altogether. Vegetables are, of course, essential for our health, but not all vegetables are created equal, and once we reach our senior years, our bodies simply don't process foods the same way they used to. Think about it. When you were younger, your digestive system, your kidneys, your liver, they were stronger, more resilient. They could handle little mistakes in your diet without much trouble. But as we age, everything becomes more delicate. The margin for error shrinks, and suddenly, that harmless-looking side dish on your plate could be doing more harm than good. So here's the question: which vegetables should you actually be careful with if you want to age gracefully, protect your heart, and keep your strength? Over the next few minutes, we'll uncover 7 vegetables that seniors should think twice about. Some of them might surprise you. 1 or 2 might even be in your fridge right now. And by the end of this video, you'll not only know what to limit or avoid, you'll also understand why these foods can be risky for older adults, and what you can do instead. But before we dive into that list, let's take a step back and talk about why this matters so much. Why vegetables aren't always safe after 50. When you hit your 50s, 60s, and beyond, your body goes through quiet, invisible changes. Your kidneys don't filter as efficiently. Your liver takes longer to process toxins. Your digestive system slows down. Your immune system isn't quite as sharp. That means foods that once seemed harmless can now linger in your system, placing stress where your body can't afford it. And for many seniors, the stakes are high. High blood pressure, risk of stroke, osteoporosis, diabetes, and kidney problems are already common. Adding the wrong kinds of vegetables into that mix, it's like pouring fuel on a small fire. For example, salty pickled vegetables can quietly push your blood pressure higher every day. Certain leafy greens, while full of nutrients, can also contribute to kidney stones. And raw sprouts, something younger people often eat without trouble, can carry bacteria that your system just isn't prepared to fight off anymore. This isn't about demonizing vegetables. It's about being smart. It's about making sure the foods you eat are working for you, not against you. The silent danger of everyday choices. Let me paint a picture. Imagine a man in his early 60s. He's retired, enjoys gardening, likes to eat healthy. Every morning, he makes a smoothie with spinach because he's heard it's a superfood. He feels good about it, proud, even. But what he doesn't realize is that the oxalates in spinach are quietly building up in his system. Weeks and months go by, and one day he's in the doctor's office with kidney stones, wondering how this could possibly happen when he thought he was eating so well. Or imagine a grandmother who loves making homemade pickles, something she's done her entire life. She snacks on them almost daily. Over the years, the salt from those pickles gradually raises her blood pressure, putting stress on her heart. She never made the connection, because after all, they're just vegetables. Stories like these happen every day, and unless we start asking the right questions, we risk falling into the same traps. Here's my promise to you. In this series, we're not just naming bad vegetables and leaving you hanging. That wouldn't be fair. We'll look at the why, and we'll talk about safer choices you can make, foods that give you the same satisfaction, the same flavor, but without the hidden risks. Because ultimately, this isn't about restriction, it's about freedom. The freedom to keep walking strong, to keep enjoying your meals, and to keep living life fully, without unnecessary health scares. So if you've ever wondered, am I really eating the right foods for my age? Could my healthy choices actually be slowing me down? And what simple swaps could protect my future health? Then you are in exactly the right place. Transition to the main content. In just a moment, we'll start with the first vegetable on our list, one that many people over 50 eat every single day, without realizing the damage it can do. But first, take a breath and remember this: small changes make a big difference. You don't need to throw out everything in your kitchen. You just need to know which 7 vegetables to treat with caution, and how to balance them wisely in your diet. So, let's begin. 1. The pickled vegetable. Picture this: an older couple in their early 70s, sitting at the kitchen table. They've kept the same tradition for decades, a small dish of pickles with almost every meal. It's part of who they are, part of their culture. They laugh, share stories, and reach for those crunchy bites, believing they're adding something light and refreshing to their plates. But beneath that crunch is a story of salt, mountains of it. Every jar of pickles, every spoonful of kimchi, every bowl of sauerkraut hides a concentration of sodium that slowly, quietly raises blood pressure. High sodium is sneaky. It doesn't make you sick instantly. It doesn't taste poisonous. In fact, it tastes delicious. But year after year, it forces the heart to work harder, strains the arteries, and for seniors already at risk of hypertension, it can be the straw that breaks the camel's back. One gentleman once told me, "I thought I was doing good because I wasn't snacking on chips or cookies, I was eating vegetables." But his blood pressure told a different story. It wasn't the sugar he needed to fear. It was the salt hidden in those jars. The lesson: pickled vegetables aren't villains, but they need boundaries. Enjoy them occasionally, not daily. And when you do, drink water, balance with fresh greens, and give your heart a little break. 2. Wild greens. Now, let me take you to a Sunday market. You see stalls overflowing with fresh produce, some familiar, others mysterious. A vendor hands you a bundle of leafy greens, saying, "This is great for your health." The price is cheap. The color is vibrant. You trust, because, well, it's a vegetable. But here's the danger. Not every plant in nature is meant for our plates. Some wild greens, especially those not widely cultivated, contain natural toxins, alkaloids, cyanide compounds that can cause dizziness, nausea, even poisoning. For younger bodies, sometimes the system fights back, but for older adults whose liver and kidneys already work overtime, those toxins hit harder. I once heard of a grandmother in her 60s who tried a new wild herb someone gave her. She wanted to experiment, to cook something different for her family. Within an hour, she was in the hospital with severe stomach cramps. Luckily, she survived, but the experience left her shaken. The moral of this story: stick with what you know. Familiar greens from trusted sources. Curiosity in food is good, but caution is wisdom, especially after 50. 3. Bamboo shoots. Have you ever tasted bamboo shoots? They're crunchy, earthy, and often used in soups and stir-fries. For many, they bring back childhood memories of family meals. But here's what most people don't know. Fresh bamboo shoots contain cyanogenic glycosides, compounds that release cyanide. Yes, the same cyanide you've heard about in crime novels. Of course, with proper cooking, boiling thoroughly and draining the water, most of that danger disappears. But when they're undercooked or eaten too often, especially by seniors, they can cause headaches, dizziness, nausea, and in rare cases, much worse. I remember a story about a man in his early 60s. He loved bamboo shoots, grew up eating them. But one rushed evening, he didn't cook them long enough. That night, his body reacted violently. He survived, but it was a wake-up call. Even the foods we love can turn against us if we don't respect them. So here's the takeaway. If you love bamboo shoots, cook them right. Treat them with care. They're like a wild horse, beautiful, but dangerous if not handled correctly. 4. Spinach. Now, let's talk about spinach. Spinach has been called a superfood for decades. Packed with iron, vitamins, and fiber, it's often the star of healthy recipes. Smoothies, salads, stir-fries, you name it. But here's the twist: spinach is also packed with oxalates. These compounds bind with calcium in the body and form kidney stones. For someone in their 20s, maybe their system flushes it out. But for someone over 50, when kidneys aren't as strong, that oxalate load can be dangerous. I knew a retired teacher, a woman in her late 60s, who prided herself on her green smoothies. Every morning, banana, apple, a giant handful of spinach. She did this faithfully for years, until one day, she ended up in the ER with excruciating back pain. Diagnosis: kidney stones. She couldn't believe it. "But I thought I was doing everything right," she said. This doesn't mean spinach is evil. It just means moderation matters. Steam it, pair it with calcium-rich foods, and don't overdo it. Sometimes, even superfoods need limits. 5. Mustard greens and chrysanthemum greens. Let's imagine a cozy winter evening. You sit down to a hot pot filled with leafy greens. It feels comforting, nourishing. But did you know that some of those greens, like mustard greens or chrysanthemum leaves, contain compounds that interfere with thyroid function? These compounds, called glucosinolates, block the absorption of iodine, which your thyroid needs to stay balanced. For seniors, especially women, thyroid health is already delicate. Too much of these greens can contribute to goiter or sluggish metabolism. One elderly woman I met used to eat bowls of mustard greens daily, thinking they were the key to staying slim. Over time, she began to feel tired, her skin dry, her weight creeping up. It wasn't until a doctor tested her thyroid that she realized the connection. So, what's the message? Variety is safety. Don't rely too heavily on one green. Mix it up. Give your thyroid room to breathe. 6. Raw sprouts. Sprouts look innocent, tiny, crisp, refreshing. They're symbols of life, growth, renewal. But beneath that image hides a serious risk: bacteria. Sprouts are grown in warm, moist conditions, the perfect breeding ground for Salmonella, E. coli, and Listeria. For younger, stronger immune systems, maybe it's not a big deal. But for seniors, a small infection can spiral into dehydration, hospitalization, or worse. I recall hearing about a man in his 70s who added raw bean sprouts to his salad every day. It gave him crunch, freshness. Then, one summer, he ended up severely ill from food poisoning traced back to those sprouts. What seemed like a harmless habit nearly cost him his health. The solution: cook them. A quick stir-fry, a short blanch. That heat transforms them from risky to safe. 7. Parsley. And finally, parsley. It seems so harmless, just a garnish, right? But parsley, when consumed in large amounts, contains a compound called apple, which can stress the liver and kidneys, and in some cases raise blood pressure. I remember a retired chef who used to sprinkle parsley generously over nearly every dish. To him, it was a mark of flavor, freshness, even pride. But after routine tests showed declining kidney function, his doctor advised him to cut back. He never imagined a garnish could matter that much. Again, parsley isn't poison. In small amounts, it's fine. But for seniors, moderation is key. So there you have it. 7 vegetables, each with their own hidden side, their own story. Pickles with their salt, wild greens with their toxins, bamboo shoots with their cyanide, spinach with its oxalates, mustard greens with their thyroid impact, raw sprouts with their bacteria, parsley with its overuse risks. None of them are outright villains, but all of them, if eaten carelessly, can quietly chip away at health after 50. The good news: knowledge is power. Once you know their secrets, you can make smarter choices. You can enjoy your meals, honor your traditions, but also protect your heart, kidneys, and overall wellness. We've walked through quite a journey together today. We've uncovered 7 vegetables, ordinary foods, that many of us have eaten for years, each carrying their own hidden risks. Once we reach our 50s, 60s, and beyond. Think back for a moment. The salty crunch of pickled vegetables, the mystery of wild greens, the comfort of bamboo shoots, the green glow of spinach, the strong flavors of mustard or chrysanthemum greens, the freshness of raw sprouts, and even the tiny garnish of parsley. Individually, none of these are bad. They're part of cultures, traditions, family recipes, and personal habits. But what today has revealed is something powerful. Once our bodies age, the rules of the game change. Foods that were harmless or even beneficial in our younger years may become burdens when our kidneys, liver, and heart no longer have the same resilience. So what's the takeaway? It's not fear. It's not restriction. It's not about cutting out everything you love. The big lesson is balance. You can still enjoy pickles, just not every day. You can still taste bamboo shoots, just make sure they're cooked properly. You can still have spinach, just in moderation, and not as your only green. You can still sprinkle parsley just lightly, not as a main dish. Balance is freedom. Balance means you get to keep enjoying food while also protecting your health. And isn't that the dream? To age gracefully, to enjoy meals with friends and family, to stay strong enough to walk, laugh, travel, and live fully without unnecessary setbacks from something as simple as what's on your plate. Here's what I've learned after listening to so many stories from people over 50. It's never one big mistake that takes our health away. It's the small, repeated habits done over months and years that slowly chip away at us. But the beauty of that truth is this: small adjustments can also heal. Just as one small daily mistake can harm, one small daily correction can heal. Swap that daily pickle for a fresh salad. Add variety to your greens instead of relying only on spinach. Cook your sprouts instead of eating them raw. Rotate your vegetables, giving your thyroid, kidneys, and heart a break. Each small choice is like casting a vote for or against your future health. Let me share one last story. A man in his late 50s, let's call him John. John was diagnosed with high blood pressure. He loved salty foods, especially pickled vegetables. At first, he thought the doctor was exaggerating. How could vegetables be part of the problem? But eventually, John decided to make one small change. He replaced his daily pickles with cucumbers and tomatoes dressed with olive oil and herbs. Just that, nothing drastic. Within 3 months, his blood pressure improved. He felt lighter. His doctor noticed the change. What John discovered is something we can all take with us. Health after 50 isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about making small, smart changes that add up. Before we close, let's quickly recap what we've learned and what you can start doing today. Limit pickled vegetables. Enjoy occasionally, not daily. Avoid wild or unknown greens. Stick to trusted, familiar produce. Cook bamboo shoots thoroughly. Boil and drain before eating. Moderate spinach intake. Mix with other greens. Don't overdo it. Balance mustard, chrysanthemum greens. Rotate. Don't rely solely on them. Cook sprouts instead of eating raw. Reduce the risk of food poisoning. Use parsley sparingly. A garnish is fine, but don't overload. Remember, it's not about fear, it's about wisdom. If you take nothing else from this video, take this. Your body at 50, 60, 70 years old deserves care. It deserves foods that love you back. And you don't need to give up the joy of eating. You just need to make sure your meals are working for you, not against you. Every choice you make at the table is an investment in your future, your ability to play with grandchildren, to take that walk in the park, to wake up each day feeling light, energized, and free. You deserve that. Before we say goodbye today, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending this time with me. I know there are countless videos you could watch, but you chose to be here, to invest in your health, and that matters. If you found this video helpful, I'd love for you to support this channel so we can keep bringing you content that truly makes a difference. Please click the like button. It lets YouTube know this video matters. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already so you never miss future health tips designed for people over 50. And most importantly, leave a comment below. Tell me, which of these 7 vegetables surprised you the most? Do you have a story of your own about food and health? Or maybe a question you'd like answered in a future video? Your comments not only help me, they help the entire community. Because when one person shares, we all learn. And if you think this message could help someone you love, please share this video with them. Sometimes, a simple share can change a life. Until next time, my friend, take care of yourself, eat wisely, and remember, every meal is an opportunity to heal. I wish you health, strength, and joy in the days ahead. Thank you again for watching. Stay well, and I'll see you in the next video.